Hey, it's me again. Welcome back. It's the Tony Viz. And here I am with my Raw recap. Um, Good show overall, I thought, last night. So without any further ado, I guess we'll just get right into it. The show started off Johnny Ace in the ring, coming to the ring, saying that he's the authority figure for the WWE and he won't allow anyone to challenge his authority, not even John Cena. Then mentions how last week Cena called him an idiot and a corporate jackass and all that kind of stuff. And then he says that he injured Cena's pride he injured Cena's pride and it over the limit. He'll continue to do what Brock Lesnar had stopped doing, which was to I guess, beat Cena to a pulp or whatever. He says that he'll show the world how dangerous it can be, and he says that the board of directors understands that he himself is a tough but fair guy. He says that he asked Cena not to be there live, even though on a side note he was at the show backstage. Cena was. Because he says but anyway, Laurinaitis said that he asked Cena not to be there live because he wants Cena to be at 100%, all healed up, so that Cena won't have any excuses when he loses to Laurinaitis at Over the Limit. Then he mentions that that Cena will be there via satellite, and he was later on the Tron during the show, and Michael Cole will interview him, and then he says that Cena will apologize for mimicking the way Johnny Ace's voice, and he says that if anyone imitates the way Johnny Ace speaks, mimics the sound of his voice, there's going to be a lot of serious, there's going to be some hell to pay pretty much. And he says that his voice sounds the way it does because of a match he had with the late Dr. Death Steve Williams in Japan way back when. So then on the Tron they show pictures of some of Johnny's old matches from back then, and he looked a lot different. So then he says that he back then was Hulk Hogan, Stone Cold Steve Austin, and The Rock all rolled into one. And he was saying that WWE offered him a contract back then. He said that he turned it down, and he says that for one night only, we'll see John Cena versus Big Johnny. So then, and then Laurinaitis says that this match is going to be bigger than Cena's match with The Rock at WrestleMania, and bigger than his match with Lesnar at Extreme Rules. So then, let's see. CM Punk comes out and says, talks about all people power, Johnny's people power and all that stuff, but he says that he still doesn't have any idea what the fans want to see. And he tells Laurinaitis that the fans don't want to see him, and they don't want to hear him yap about himself and all that stuff. Then he said, it's like he mentioned Punk tells Johnny Ace that it's like he basically placed all his chips on Brock Lesnar to take out Cena, and Cena beat him at Extreme Rules, and he didn't get the job done. And he was saying that that embarrassed Johnny Ace, and he called him, the same thing. It's like a corporate, suit wearing corporate jackass and stuff. And he says, he calls him an idiot and a gigantic toolbox. So then Ace said if he wasn't in training for his match with Cena, he'd pummel Punk into the ground right now. But then Laurinaitis says that Punk will face someone else who just finished up in Japan, and that'd be, of course, Lord Tensai, Albert, A-Train, whatever you want to call him, Frank Bernard. And Punk is okay with that, and he says he's alright with that, and he says he looks forward to Over the Limit and seeing John Cena twist Laurinaitis into a pretzel and watch him tap out. Good stuff, good promo. Punk was really good as usual. I thought this was a good way to start the show off. It was a good way to start the show. Good storyline development here. Then the next thing in the show was Johnny Ace backstage. He's texting again, and then he bumps into Big Show, and then Ace screams at him, was like, "Hey, didn't you see your boss here? Didn't you see me here? Whatever." Like, "Stay out of my way." And he tells Big Show to stay out of his way. When the boss is coming to watch it or whatever. And then as he's walking, Show mimics Johnny Ace's voice, going whatever you say, and then Eve sees all that, and then it's like she looks at Big Show, and then Big Show just like walks off, all like pissed off or whatever. So then we have Big Show versus Cody for the Intercontinental title. Match wasn't really much. Cody just walked out, got himself counted out. Then Big Show got the mic and just telling Cody, "Hey, get back in here," blah blah blah, and then but he doesn't. Then he tells Cody that if he has to go back there and find them, it's going to be worse for Cody. Then Eve comes out and tells Show to apologize for mimicking Laurinaitis' voice. And Show says that he's sorry, and then Eve says that she told him to apologize, not to say that he's sorry. I mean, not that there's any difference. So then, she says that then she says, for a guy like Big Show, it's like outside the wrestling business, there isn't much need for a 400-pound freak. And she tells him to apologize again, and he reluctantly, so with this really pissed off tone, it was like, I'm sorry, So then he walks up the ramp all pissed, and the whole thing was stupid, it's like I say, I don't know what to do with Big Show here, it's like I say, it's making him look like a pussy, with Eve and everything, and Eve, her character just doesn't work for me at all. This executive heel, I just find the whole thing to be really boring. And Cody looks like is in the deep push mode that they always do with young guys. It's like push the guy, and then after a while, deep push him and make him look like a joke. I don't know why WWE feels the need to do that all the time. And then unfortunately, at this point, my cable box had actually, for some reason, my cable box went out, so I actually missed a little bit of it. When it came back on, there was Kofi Kingston and Dolph Ziggler. I didn't see the whole match because my cable box decided to crap out on me. But what I saw was solid. It was decent. It was decent. Ziggler got the win when Vicky Guerrero distracted the referee, and Jack Swagger got involved somehow. I think he pushed Kofi off the rope, whatever. Decent match. It was short but decent. And they showed Abraham Washington watching backstage on the monitor with his new clients Rosa, Primo, and Epico. And then Mason Ryan shows up, hinting that AW might be his next client or whatever. They had actually done something about that on the house shows where Mason Ryan worked as Dolph Ziggler's bodyguard. So they're setting up a heel run for Mason Ryan. I mean, I don't know if it's going to really do anything because the guy's not really on much. But they're trying. It's like with Abraham Washington, they're trying to recreate the whole like Bobby the Brain, Heenan family stable, and but it's like he's AW is, it's like he's got these, nothing against like Primo and Epico, but it's like, and he's got the low-level guys, so it's like, I mean, I don't know if they forgot or they wanted to forget that originally he was looking to manage Mark Henry first. I don't know, so, but, we'll see. I mean, I don't know if, if they're trying to go with the Bobby the Brain type of stable, it's not gonna, well, it definitely won't be as good, as it was back then because Bobby the Brain was just so damn talented. So then we go to Michael Cole in the ring, interviewing John Cena on the Tron, who, as I mentioned before, they said live via satellite, but he was really backstage at the show, because he had a dark match, he had a post-show dark match with Kane. Anyway, so John Cena comes up on the Tron, and Cole asks him for an update. Cena says that, it's like he's going to have to get his arm drained out or whatever, and that the doctors advised him not to compete for a few months. Cena says that he doesn't care about that. The doctors don't know who they're dealing with. He'll be there at over the limit, and to beat the hell out of Johnny Ace, pretty much. Cole asks Cena if Cena is surprised that the board of directors didn't do anything about Laurinaitis attacking him last week, and Cena says that he talked to the board of directors and told them not to take any actions against Laurinaitis until after over the limit because he wants to beat the crap out of him himself. So he said that. So then Cole talks about some of Laurinaitis' past accomplishments from back in the day or whatever, and he's saying that Cena might be scared, and then Cena's saying, yeah, he's scared of what he'll do to Laurinaitis at the pay-per-view. And he's saying that, at Over the Limit, Johnny Ace isn't going to be he's not going to be the GM, the boss in a suit. he'll be Cena's opponent, and that means that Cena is going to kick his ass. Really good segment. A lot, very short. Good, short to the point promo from Cena. This is the kind of John Cena that I like. That I enjoy watching. The more intense. It's like this happened. This guy did this to me. I'm coming for him. And he was saying that it's like he was saying that Johnny Ace can't ban him, or he can't do anything, take any action against Cena because he will be wrestling. They'll be having a match. And also, I like the fact that they didn't have Michael Cole go overboard with the heel character, because when they said that Michael Cole was going to interview Cena, I was like, oh boy, here we go with the whole Michael Cole's going to do the heel bit and this and that, and thank God that didn't happen. So good segment. Then we get to a meaningless Diva tag match. Layla and Kelly versus Natalya and Maxine. I have no idea why they put Natalya and Maxine as a team. I thought they turned Natalya babyface recently. Not much of a match. Beth Phoenix was on commentary. Layla and Kelly get the win. Layla gets the pin on Maxine after a neck breaker. Then they announced that Layla will defend the title at Over the Limit against Beth Phoenix. And then Layla and Beth just stare each other down or what have you. Give me something about Layla too. It's like she comes out to the old Cool music, and it's like give her different theme music, because that's give her different theme music if she's a babyface, because that's that's a heel theme. So so again, not much of a match. They just further they just went with the Layla Beth Phoenix match, and they'd also show comments from Layla after winning the title, Extreme Rules, saying that she'd gotten injured at Extreme Rules a year ago and wasn't sure if she was going to be back or what. So they had some pre-recorded comments before the match. Then we get to what was probably the best match on the show: Sheamus and Randy Orton taking on Alberto Del Rio and Chris Jericho. Good back and forth match. Jericho wound up getting the pin on Sheamus. What happened was, I think Orton took Del Rio out of the equation. He chucked him out of the ring. Then Sheamus went to brogue kick Jericho. Jericho got out of the way. Sheamus wound up brogue kicking Orton by mistake. But then Jericho hit Sheamus with the code breaker and got the pin. And then afterwards, Jericho goes to ringside and he takes the world title and he holds it up. He holds it up, and there's my phone ringing. Sorry about that. And then afterwards, Sheamus helps Orton back up, and asks him if he's alright. Orton says he's okay, and then boom, gives Sheamus an RKO. Good stuff there. It's like I thought maybe this would be the start of a Sheamus Orton rivalry. And then afterwards, we go to backstage. And Jericho comes into Johnny Ace's office and saying that he should be the next in line for a world title match since he just pinned the champion in the tag match. And then Del Rio comes in and says that he's next in line. The two of them bicker for a bit. And then Randy Orton comes in and says that if anyone should be getting a title match, it's him. Then, of course, Jericho and Orton start to brawl, and then Del Rio, being the heel, of course, goes after Orton. So the two heels are double teaming Orton. Then Sheamus comes in. And the brawl continues. They clean house on Jericho and Del Rio. Then Orton and Sheamus argue. Orton asking Sheamus, I was like, hey, what was wrong with you out there kicking me? What'd you kick me for? And Sheamus was saying it was by mistake. It wasn't intentional. And he said, no. Orton was saying, oh, there's no mistakes in the ring. They argue and this and that. And then eventually Johnny Ace says that at Over the Limit, the world title match, which was originally supposed to be Sheamus versus Del Rio, will now be Sheamus, Del Rio, Orton, and Jericho in a four-way. Good segment, really good segment, and the four-way should be a good match. At first, when I first heard it, I thought it might be a little too soon to do a four-way, but I guess there's not much else I can do, to hold that off or whatever. I thought maybe do Orton and Jericho would have a number one contender match on the show, but this four-way could be, this four-way has the potential to be a really good match. And that was a good segment. Again, though, they did a good job further developing the storyline here. Then they had Brodus Clay versus The Miz. Miz comes out, before the match, Miz comes out and just complains about having to be going against Brodus Clay instead of being in the world title hunt. And he says that, after this match, he wants Brodus to call his mama, and he does the usual spiel saying that he's The Miz, and he's awesome, but he's, not booked to be so awesome these days. So, like I said, Miz has really gotten, he's on the downward spiral here, So, anyway, This was the longest match Brodus Clay's had since this crappy gimmick started. It still wasn't much, you know. Like I say, you know, Miz got some offense in, and then Brodus eventually got the win with the with the big man splash or whatever. So it's like I say, you know, Miz has really been pushed down the card a lot, and rent don't buy Miz. That's where he's at. Then they recapped the Triple H Brock Lesnar bit from last week. Then they talked about, you know, since word got out online that Triple H was at the Floyd Mayweather fight and actually held up the Mayweather's championship and everything. They went into a whole thing about how Triple H has got a special arm cast or whatever. They showed pictures of him with some kind of a different arm cast or whatever, and he's got torn ligaments, broken bones, and all sorts of stuff. It's what have you. Really, you know, kind of playing up that selling the injury in that kind of way. So, and then Brock Lesnar's music hits as Cole and King are talking about Triple H's broken arm, what have you. Brock Lesnar's music plays, and then they show the entranceway for a bit, and then after a while, and then eventually, what I popped huge for, the return of the one and only Paul Heyman. Loved it. Oh man, and he said that he was there. You know, he was there as Lesnar's representative, and he was saying that Brock has been underappreciated by the fans, and I think by management too. I believe since day one. Yeah, he said that the fans and management have all underappreciated Lesnar since day one. And Heyman says that, you know, the WWE today is different from the way WWE was 10 years ago when Lesnar made his debut. And he said that, you know, he talks about the demands that Brock Lesnar made with Laurinaitis in that contract 2 weeks ago, and that when Hunter broke it, you know, Hunter said that those deals aren't going to happen. Lesnar felt betrayed by management and by the fans, and then he mentions that Brock Lesnar was the only guy in history to hold the NCAA, WWE, and UFC championships. And he also said that Brock Lesnar was an honest man. He said that Brock Lesnar came in and said that he was going to beat the crap out of John Cena and, you know, and hurt people, and that's just what he did. And then he said that Brock asked Heyman to be on Raw to read a statement. Heyman takes the paper out and reads the statement, and he says that Brock came back to bring legitimacy back to WWE and pretty much didn't get anything in return for it. So he says that Triple H might have lasted in this Hell in a Cell WrestleMania with The Undertaker, but Triple H couldn't last in a fight with Brock. So then he says that Hunter broke their agreement last week, so that was why he broke Hunter's arm. Then the rest of the statement, Heyman read that Lesnar is never coming back, and then finally the statement said, it's like Brock Lesnar quit. So this was a way to, since Brock's got some limited days in the contract, it was real. So this is a way to have him off TV for a while. And I think Heyman is going to be on for a bit, being, like I said, being Brock's representative, manager, what have you. But this was really good. This was great. I love seeing Paul Heyman back. Did not see it coming. Great to see him back. The guy's a great promo. It was a tremendous surprise. Promo was awesome, and I'm really liking where the storyline is going. I know last week I was saying I didn't want to see Triple H versus Brock Lesnar, but now my opinion of that has changed, and hopefully, it looks like we'll be getting that, and I hope to God if they're smart, they'll save it for SummerSlam, because I think that could be a really good match. I think they could really do something with that. Then we go to two guys backstage from this new show. I don't even remember what the name was, but they said they were detectives, so I thought they were the guys from Psych, but they weren't. They said the Big Show shouldn't have to apologize to Eve or whatever, and then they said that they're detectives and they're gonna find out what's going on or whatever, and then mimic Johnny Ace's voice and everything, and then Eve shows up again, and then Big Show's got this look. I was like, oh man, I've done it again. It's just like it just made Big Show look weak. I don't know. So then we get to the main event. Main event time, CM Punk comes out. Before the match starts, or before we get to the match, Johnny Ace comes out and tells Punk that the match is going to be now It's going to be CM Punk versus Lord Tensai and Daniel Bryan in the handicap match. Solid back and forth match. It was good stuff. Tensai spit the mist into his taped up hand, and then got the claw on Punk and got the 3 count. Good match. And then Punk sold the mist in the eyes, and while Tensai was showing his misted hand to the camera and everything. And then Danielson comes in, Daniel Bryan, whatever his name is, and he kicks Punk, and then he locks him in the yes lock, and he's screaming at Punk, screaming at Punk that Punk is not better than he is. Then he releases the hold, then he reapplies it for a little bit, and then the show ends with Danielson doing the yes chant, standing over Punk. Tremendous stuff. This was great stuff. Again, they furthered the storyline with Punk and Daniel Bryan too. So, like I said, overall, I thought this was a from a wrestling standpoint, and in-ring standpoint, there wasn't a lot of action. A lot of the matches were short. Punk versus Tensai and Bryan was solid. Probably the best match on the show was the tag match, Sheamus Orton versus Jericho and Del Rio. I think that had the most time on it, and for me, it's like seeing Paul Heyman back was great. That was I just love that. But I thought that from a storyline advancement perspective, I thought that they did a really good job in advancing all the storylines. Cena and Johnny Ace, Punk and Daniel Bryan, and now they've got the world title is going to be a 4-way. I thought they did a really good job. I thought they did a really good job last night in continuing all the storylines. So that'll pretty much do it. Like I said, again, you can feel free to leave a comment on my channel. You can also click on the link to my blog, TonyViz.blogspot.com, where I give my where I recap the whole show, and that'll pretty much do it. So I'll be back with a post Impact on Friday. So until then, this is Tony Viz, the Tone. That'll do it for me right now, and I'll talk to you guys all on Friday. Take care, everybody.